Yeah,
So what
we
you
could
want
just
to go
walk through
over.
the agenda real quick, and then I'll be doing the content plan, so we could roll into that first.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and start that.
Sure, sure. So, for the agenda today, we're first going to go through the content plan, where we lay out, what channels that we're going to be working on, or being, how we're going to approach them, the tone, the audience, all that good stuff. And then after that, we'll be going through our PR plan. So, similar thing, but different scope. Uh, Gonna go over our timing for meetings in the future, some community members we want to talk to, uh, then just a few other administrative details after that. First off, I'll be doing the content plan. Let me get my screen share ready here.
Quick question, and sorry if there's a lot of background noise for me, but do you guys mind if we record these?
Yeah.
100%. No problem.
All right.
Amazing.
Yeah, sorry, I ran a little over, but yeah, super excited for this, guys. Yeah, I see Sinks in here, Sweet Red Beans. Yeah, so super excited. So to lay the framework and the groundwork for everybody, just so any context anybody might need. So obviously we're the Strat guys. We were kind of brought in to do a lot of the kind of go-to-market strategy, narrative building, and kind of helping grow the Bean community. A couple things we want to really focus on is like one, building this community, making it bigger, having more people get excited about the protocol. We want to kind of revamp a lot of the ways that we do our kind of comms and narrative building. We think this project has some really beautiful narratives, and there's some really awesome opportunities to really grow this thing out. I think this can be one of the kind of biggest, most scalable stable coins on the market. And so we're, incredibly excited by the opportunity to kind of really build this out. We've been talking to the team for a while. Yeah, so just in general, we did meet the Bean team for a little bit in at ETH Denver, and we had some awesome conversations about ways that we can work. So we're just to kind of table set. We're in a little bit of our kickoff phase where we're kind of doing our planning, strategizing, figuring out how we're going to go about and attack this thing. And so what that looks like, and kind of the scope that we're covering is one, obviously on the docs, what one thing that we love about the Bean guys is that, and the BF team, is that they're incredibly diligent with the docs, constantly upgrading and updating the white paper, the Git book and things like that. So that's something we're definitely going to be with. Long form content is something we're going to have a huge focus on. And what that's going to look like is a combination of educational content that's going to live on the blog, roadmaps. Right, we want to get Poops to be a lot more open about the roadmap working on, and what we're all what we're kind of spending their time on, and what the next kind of 3, 6, 9 months look like for the Bean community. And then also, general educational content. We want to make it a lot easier for people to be able to come into the ecosystem, right? So we feel like there's a little bit of a knowledge gap for people where when they come to learn about the protocol and indicators of it, that there might be a little bit of cognitive dissonance, maybe in between, where we are and where we want to be, or what they think the protocol is and what it actually is, right? Like I think there's a lot of people that just get here algo stable and they're just kind of like, we're kind of out. But they don't really understand the nuances that are being created. And so one thing that we also learned from Poobs is that they're very heads down focused on solving this one problem, which is a massive problem. But what that doesn't do is help you, have more people come into the ecosystem and learn about the problem. And that we're kind of solving here. So we want to do a lot of like narrative building, kind of growing Poop's presence, having them kind of out there a little more as thought leaders. So we also want to do socials. So we're going to be running socials. So there's going to be kind of 3 socials that we're running. We're going to be running one, that we're going to be working a little bit on the Beanstalk Farms Twitter. We're going to keep that very high level and academic. 2, we're going to start running a Bean Farmers Twitter account, and that's going to be kind of a community driven social that we're going to kind of build from scratch, and kind of where we can be a little bit edgier, a little bit funnier, things like that. And then the third account we're going to be running is Bean Bull. So we're going to really use Bean Bull as an opportunity to really push narratives, get even edgier and as edgy as possible, hop into a lot of different conversations. I think if we've seen anything from this last weekend, there is never a time more necessary than now for, an algo stable or a, non-fiat collateralized stablecoin. And so, a lot of great narratives to hop on. So we're going to be running socials. We're going to be doing a lot of biz dev. And so this is an area where we're going to look for a lot of help from the community. But what we want to do is create more opportunities and more integrations for Bean, right? Having Bean used in more places. So we're going to be doing a lot of biz dev, a lot more integrations, right? Finding more composition opportunities, ways for other protocols to integrate, ways for Bean to integrate into other protocols. And then the last thing we're going to be doing is public relations, PR. Which is getting not only just Bean in the protocol but also Poobs into different op-ed opportunities and larger opportunities in the vaster kind of scope and being able to appeal to a lot more normie audiences, right? We're talking about getting into CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, places like that. So we met with Guy and Sweet Red and Silo Chad last week, and we kind of had a little bit of our kickoff. And so what that kickoff kind of entailed was we kind of went through a big audit. So I'll actually drop that audit in here for the in the chat for the community to take a peek at. But essentially, here, drop it right here. And so we went through this audit. So feel free. I want my goal here is I want to create almost like a case study of how projects or how people like ourselves, like Scribe, are able to come in and work with DAOs and work with large communities like this. So we have the Scribe channel, and that's where we're gonna have all open communications. Imagine our Scribe channel to be like if we were to work with a client, or if anyone's worked in a business where you have kind of a place that you work with other I just shared access. It should be able to be viewed now. A place where you can kind of communicate with the agency or the team. So that's what I imagine. Just like we work with a lot of other clients, and in those other clients we have a Slack connection channel or something like that. Rather than that, we're going to use kind of this Discord channel as our Slack connection. So we're going to communicate like I'm talking to Guy about all the things that we're working on, but for everybody to see and keep it as open as possible. So that's the audit that we worked on last week, where we kind of went through all the channels, what's working, what's not working, areas of opportunity, things like that. This week, what we've been working on is kind of our plan of attack. So what that looks like is, we have Randy here. Randy's going to be Randy Rob. Randy's going to be going through a content plan. So we kind of went through and thought about, hey, these are the main pillars of content that we want to hit to make sure that we're kind of putting our thoughts out there in a very concise way. I put together a PR plan, so kind of a plan of attack for how we're thinking about PR and getting a lot of coverage. I think PR is going to be really important early on. It's going to take a little bit to kind of get the ball rolling there. PR does take a lot of time, but earlier we get the ball rolling, the better you'll start to see a lot of Bean coverage in some of these top tier publications. And so that's what we'll go through. We're still working through some logistics and things like that. We do want to set a meeting. I want to make sure my team and everybody from my team that's working on Bean is like kind of a Bean expert. And so for that, we've put together like a huge host of questions. Everybody is on the team is kind of ripped through the white paper a bunch of times, ripped through the Git book. We even had a whole internal kind of presentation about our current thoughts on Bean, what's going on, kind of an explainer. And so with that and all the research we've been doing to get caught up on the ecosystem, has led us to a lot of questions. So just a quick agenda of what's going to happen is we're going to walk through the content plan. We're going to walk through the PR plan. We're still looking to get a timing for this big brain meeting that we're going to do, which I think maybe would be open to the community as well, where we're going to talk to Poobs, we're going to talk to Silo Chad and a lot of the engineers, and we're going to kind of grill them, pick their brain on everything that we need to know to make sure we're Bean experts, so that when we do go write content, we do a lot of these op-eds and things like that, that we have all the information we need. There is some finalization of the contract stuff we need to do that I'm working with Guy on. One thing we asked from Guy, and that we'd love to get community input in from as well, is we're looking for a list of community members that have been in the Bean ecosystem for a long time that we can talk to, pick their brains about what's going on, what they think is working, not working, areas of opportunity, their kind of maybe mindset or framework for Bean. And then so we're working on a content calendar, and that's going to be shared publicly, and that'll give you a better idea of what content's going to look like on a week-to-week basis across long form plus social. And then last thing we're going to be doing is, Guy mentioned that there's going to be a Twitter space, one with Chris Bleck and one with some Cosmos guys. And what we want to do is make sure that when we do things like these Twitter spaces with Tenderman Timmy, when we do things like these Twitter spaces, that we have a lot of structure with it. We're getting what we want out of these opportunities, right? Making sure we're maximizing Poop's time, especially with some of this public stuff, so that everyone can get the best bang for their buck. So I know I just talked for a while, but just wanted to make sure everybody has context. These meetings are going to happen every Wednesday at this time in this Discord without fail. And so every week you guys will be able to get a little update about what's going on, what we're working on, making sure that, the beans that we're getting, everybody's kind of, you guys are getting your money's worth, and that we're actually doing things productive, building this project out. And being able to really grow the thing into what we think it can be, which is kind of one of the largest stable coins on the market. So, with all that said, I'm going to hand it over to Randy, and Randy's going to run through the content plan he put together to give us a good idea about, what content's going to look like, how we're kind of thinking about planning content. So, Randy, you want to share your screen and go at it?
Yeah, awesome. Can you guys all see this screen share here? Are we good on that?
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect. Yeah, so Randy, also known as Rob, but I've worked on, decentralized stablecoins before. I've been working with Liquidity for a while, so I kind of have an idea of the general narrative going on there, and we want to hook Bean into that because, that's what it is at its core, a decentralized stablecoin, especially with the recent, depegs and stuff. That's something that people are going to be having a lot more eyeballs on in the future. And with this content plan, we're just laying out, what we want to put out there, how we want to promote it, and how we want to get the most eyes and attention on Bean. So first off, we have some goals for general social channels. We want to get the Twitter up, so we're thinking 10K in the next 3 months is a solid goal there for the main Twitter. And then for the Beanstalk Money Twitter, we're trying to get that to around 1.5K in the same time frame. But beyond that, like Ishan mentioned, we're spinning up a new community Twitter. Is Bean_farmers confirmed as the handle for that?
Yep, that's confirmed.
Okay, great. So yeah, that's going to be our new handle. We're trying to get that to around 5,000. And like Ishan said, that's going to be, a little more informal content, a lot more engagement and community based. We're really excited to get that up and running. And then the Discord, obviously, that's such an amazing resource. There's so much information in there. So one of the main goals with the other platforms is going to be funneling people to the Discord to give them access to all of the great content that the community is putting out in there. Yeah, beyond just the numbers, we want to get the participation levels up as well. Getting people to have their own discussions around Bean and what the future is going to be like for it. So yeah, the next major goal, Bean pegged to $1. That's going to be something that we're focused on the entire time because that just allows us to do so much more once the peg isn't the main issue of concern. So obviously we're going to be taking care of that first, just establishing the importance of Bean and its uniqueness within the stablecoin ecosystem, and then generating demand for it by promoting the opportunities within Bean's ecosystem and just getting our plan to repeg out there to the masses so they can see what we're working on. Beyond that, brand recognition is going to be big here. Like I was mentioning before, putting Bean in the conversation with some of those big, like non-dollar, non-fiat reserve stablecoins like Liquidity's LUSD and MIM, just kind of emphasizing Bean's mechanisms, getting a good understanding around those and what the innovations are in terms of the stablecoin trilemma, what problems Bean solves. So there's 4 main pillars that we're going to be looking at when we're building out our content. The first one is financial utility. And this is going to be mainly focused on educating people on the concepts underlying Bean, all the economic mechanisms that are kind of going on below the surface of the protocol, and as well as like the yield opportunities within the system, how all the bonding works and stuff, and identifying Bean's use cases as a stablecoin. So yeah, we're just targeting DeFi users, stablecoin users, yield farmers, all those good groups. And we're going to be establishing a long form, so that's going to be on Mirror. We feel like that's kind of the most, decentralized Web3 aligned platform for long form. And we're going to be doing weekly articles that kind of breaks down key elements of the protocol and makes it, digestible, understandable for the average reader. And that way we're going to expand our audience just from like, the core Bean community that's been here a while and really knows what's going on. We're going to be able to bring in a bunch of new users that way and get them up to speed quickly. So yeah, we're going to try and make the content pretty simple here, using analogies, straightforward language, infographics, which I was talking with Silo Chad yesterday about actually just getting like some good flow charts of how different parts connect within the Bean ecosystem and how money flows through the different, the different elements. At least once per quarter, we're going to dedicate a post to metrics and analysis. This could be monthly as well. We're still not completely decided on the time frame there, but we're going to be doing metrics and analysis, just the current state of Bean, kind of a snapshot of what it looks like at any given month or quarter, and then laying out the potential for some of the new markets that are coming up, like Wells, and what the opportunities are going to be there. Twitter, we're going to use that for short form content, memes, more engagement stuff, depending on which Twitter channel we're going through. And then obviously repurposing that long form content to Twitter, getting it out to that wider audience. And then threads as well, just like general stablecoin threads, use cases for Bean, same stuff, just like, Twitter threads, different audience, shorter form content. Have some example headlines here, just, some basic ideas that we came up with. And once we get deep into the content, we'll build these ideas out and we'll have, pitches for each of them. And we'll actually get the content going, which I'm really excited to do. So things we need from the Bean team here, just going to be support on all the technical side of things, like explaining stuff well, making sure everything's accurate and concise. And then, like Ishan was talking about, the future developments roadmap, so we can let people know what's coming up for the protocol. All right, moving on to our second point here, community building. So obviously, like the Bean community, it's really strong, and I feel like the people who have been in Bean for a while, they have a great understanding of the protocol, and just promoting like the strength of the community out to a wider audience is huge. Keeping everyone well informed with updates from the devs, governance decisions like Bean improvement proposals, and all that good stuff. Anyone we integrate with, promoting some key brand elements like the classroom program and just kind of like the farming theme and branding. And yeah, we're going to be doing that through basically the same channels, Mirror, more long form stuff, basically just cutting through the complexity and establishing Mirror as like a resource that people can be directed to when they want to learn about Bean and they want to get introduced to it. Twitter threads, yeah, same stuff as the first point, but we're going to be repurposing that content, doing some more engagement stuff, like polls, discussions, memes, interacting with like ecosystem accounts, whether that's maybe some other decentralized stablecoin accounts or DeFi infrastructure, stuff like that. And we're going to use Twitter to supplement our BD efforts as well, by engaging with those partner projects. Like we said earlier, we're going to be doing some, I don't know, I was thinking maybe some community calls move to Twitter. Not sure how you guys feel about that, but definitely at least some spaces with, other prominent figures in the stablecoin DeFi space. So YouTube, last one I wanted to touch on here. I think the content that's on YouTube right now is excellent. I think we can all agree that, if you go to the Bean YouTube, you're going to get a really nice, like clear understanding of what's going on. And also it has like all the community call recordings and stuff like that. So we're going to be repurposing the YouTube content, cutting it up for like Twitter clips and such. Just, yeah, making sure that resource is known because I feel like it might not be getting the exposure it deserves right now. Things we need here, just talking about the upcoming use cases and the roadmap, and then, yeah, figuring out who we're going to be putting on Twitter Spaces, coordinating all the details there. All right, next point is going to be empowering users. So yeah, kind of a big theme here is that Beanstalk is a little more complicated than your average stablecoin, but we want to make it like to a point where you don't have to be some like gigabrain DeFi native to consume the content and really get what's going on here. And I mean, this is done really well on Discord, so we just kind of want to replicate that to Twitter, Mirror, and the other platforms. You can see some points here, just a little bit about how we're going to be doing that. Obviously, infographics, video, screenshots, stuff like that is really key because, when you first click on like a new protocol or something, you want to understand it. It's a lot easier to get a visual than to have to read through a bunch of docs or something, at least for the average user. And then, yeah, linking to Discord whenever possible to leverage all the info that's already in there. We're also going to be doing, like evergreen content on the basics of Beanstalk. And then whenever we add something new to the ecosystem, we're going to be explaining that and getting people hyped up for it. We're thinking about doing a little more on Reddit as well. Maybe I think there was like a Beanstalk Reddit that hasn't really been used much, at least lately. But there's always subs like r/DeFi and a bunch of other ones that we could be posting on there just to engage a different side of the crypto audience. Yeah, we're gonna kind of like be putting out some example memes, just brainstorming there. Obviously, that's something we could bring the community into as well. Just more fun, creative content to kind of get some engagement there, and then obviously input from the team on the technical side of things. All right, our last pillar is going to be thought leadership, and this kind of goes back to the narratives we're talking about. So obviously, stablecoins are like a huge focal point for crypto, and they get discussed all the time. But inserting Bean into that narrative and pushing the differentiation that it offers is going to be kind of our way of like hacking into the narrative, hijacking it a little bit, if you will. So this is going to be articles on the Mirror, like state of stablecoins, the future of stablecoins, why Bean's important. And then, yeah, like I said, taking topics like, USDC censorship or the SEC's stablecoin regulation stuff, and then just, showing that Bean has a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the stable sector. And then, yeah, repurpose that on Twitter, include some memes and spaces just to talk about, general thought leadership points when it comes to stables. Example headlines here. And yeah, we just want to get input from the Bean team as well as the community, just on kind of the role that it's trying to play in a future of like on-chain transactions. And that's our content plan right there. Yeah. Looking forward to getting into the dirty work and actually getting this stuff up and posted.
Awesome. I think maybe we can pause there for a second and like, yeah, if anyone in the community has any questions or thoughts or, other areas maybe you think we should hit on content, other kind of big picture narratives we should be thinking about, other framings.
I was just going to say on the needs front, you guys should feel free to harass us, whether it's like asking questions in real time on Discord or, if some of these needs require a call, like please just say so and we can make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing that we've been really grateful for is like you guys are definitely like super available to help. I know in our past, we so some clients maybe aren't as receptive to helping out a lot, but definitely being in the community has been. So definitely super excited about that. What we can go through next is if anyone else has any questions. If not, I can.
So on the needs front, like what's like, I mean, I guess there's a few different things, but what's like the thinking around timeline? Like when are you guys expecting to get your hands dirty with like drafting tweets, things like that? Or are there more like discussions or calls that you need from us before getting started there?
I can jump in really quick, Sean. I wanted to get some things out next week in regards to the spaces that are going to be going on, and some recap posts of those, and then also just kind of vanilla announcing. But then I think we were going to talk after this call and get a firm timeline, but I think we did want to start kind of putting out content next week. So, I mean, when we get checks from you, I think we've already talked about this, but we'll kind of just send it over for a check beforehand. We can figure out a better system, but we obviously have the notion that we can use to maybe we can create a drafts thing. I'm going to be going.
Yeah, like
great.
using the content calendar, we're just gonna be planning that stuff out as this week goes on, start getting like a cadence going for when we're gonna be posting on the medium, or when we're gonna be doing threads, when we're gonna be doing spaces, just to get everyone on the same page.
So yeah, the only thing that we're kind of waiting on is that technical deep dive call. I think what you can expect is like, Twitter. You will start to see a lot more on Twitter coming this next week.
See, Ishan, did you want to go through the PR plan next?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? No.
I could hear you, Ishan.
Oh, okay.
Not sure.
I'm not able to hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Weird.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ishan.
You wanna try muting and unmuting really quick, Ishan?
Okay. How about now?
I can still hear you.
Weird, I can't hear him.
That's
Audio
really weird.
Here, I'm just gonna leave and join in really quick.
Is it, like anyone else? Like, hey, like Sweet Red, can you hear me?
Yeah, can anyone else hear Ishan?
No.
I can hear him.
Okay, maybe it's just my guys.
I think we're good now. Yeah, I rejoined.
So yeah, just to make sure everyone heard, right? So as far as like the only thing that we kind of need is like we want to do that technical call just to make sure we're all on the same page. I think we got a pretty good idea of roadmap, but want to make sure like narratives, frameworks, like want to make sure we're all in the same headspace as far as like some of the more technical mechanics of the protocol and how things work. Make sure we're all on the same page. I know my team has a lot of questions about some smaller things, so that's the only thing that's stopping us from really getting everything going. So I think we're gonna plan for that like early next week. I think Poops is pretty busy this week.
Yeah, let's figure that out right now. Does 11 a.m. Eastern on Monday work for you guys?
11 a.m. Eastern is 10 my time and Joey's time. Yeah. At can we do 10:30? 10:30 for you guys Eastern?
Oof, that's 7:30 for me, but I'll make it happen. Just might only have a few brain cells.
Well, 30 minutes later. So that would be
30 minutes later. Sorry. Yeah, we can do that. Perfect.
Okay, cool. I'll put it on the calendar right now. It's gonna be 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific.
Perfect.
Great.
So yeah, we'll set that time on Monday, and then yeah. So I think like quick timeline. I think you can expect socials to get going from next week, and then we'll start to draft out and put together the full content plan for long form content, and then hopefully we'll be able to get you kind of like we'll be able to set that, and then from that following week is when the content arm will start kicking off. So socials will kick off next week. Week after that, we'll start to kick off long form content. Start to get like nice long blog posts, educational content, all that good stuff. So
awesome, and we can have that meeting here. So we'll set up a Discord event and let folks know.
Perfect. That's awesome. So last thing that I have, I think that took care of most of our logistics, is I got a quick PR plan that I'm going to run through just to make sure everyone's on the same page as far as what PR is going to look like. The only caveat is that PR typically takes a little bit of time to get going, right? Like putting together the pitches, the narratives, kind of creating the relationships with the right journalist, figuring out which journalists are more likely to cover us rather than other ones, right? Like we're not going to go to like an NFT journalist and be like, hey, let's go talk about seniorage. So that's just the caveat. But yeah, so if you guys can see my screen, so what this is going to look like is putting Beanstalk in the press And it's going to come in multiple forms, right? It's going to come in like long form blog or like media coverage on some of these top publications. It's going to come in the form of like op-ed opportunities for poobs and to kind of give some of our thought leadership theses about what's going on, what the future of the stablecoin space looks like. I think there's going to be a lot of good opportunities that come up over the next 4 to 8 weeks. Because of everything that happened this past weekend, I think people are starting to realize like, oh shit, even if it's fully collateralized, like there's still huge issues that come with this, a lot of counterparty risk. And so there's a lot of awesome stories to tell, and we want to make sure we're kind of at the forefront. So quick walkthrough. High level objectives. One, we want to use PR as an opportunity to build brand awareness, right? Get poobs in there as thought leaders. Commentary, op-eds, podcast opportunities, right? We want to get poobs on a lot more podcasts, long form ways where we can talk about the vision, the theory, the theses behind why we're building Beanstalk. Two, it's going to be educating users on the importance of kind of this non-sovereign credit-backed money. I think that's kind of now more than ever most important. Ways that users should be using Beanstalk as a diversification. I think now everybody realizes that you can't just hold your life savings in USDC. And I think people are going to realize very quickly USDT is not the answer either. Education, we think education is going to be such an important part about what we're going to be working on over the next couple months. These are just some FAQs about, questions that we're going to get asked from a lot of these, journalists and things like that. So making sure that we have the right talking points. So that's something we'll kind of go over when we do our technical deep dive on Monday, making sure we're talking about things in the right way, we're using the right words. So things can't get kind of twisted against us in the media. Pitches and headlines, right? So we want to, make sure we're hitting the right angles. Revolutionizing the money we use. Creating a permissionless stablecoin on top of Ethereum, shaping the future of money. Seniorage, right? I've always been kind of fascinated by the concept of seniorage, and it's kind of like one of these least understood and utilized economic kind of tools, and obviously the government uses it quite a bit, but why in a decentralized way it can create like a better form of money. So we want to do a lot of things around educating around seniorage, and the importance of carrying costs, right? I think this is like a massive easy thing for people to understand, and we just need to find the best way to frame it. But obviously like the opportunity cost of holding anything gives you a negative carrying cost. And so when we kind of flip it and say, hey, Bean actually creates a positive carrying cost and kind of pays you to hold, and kind of breaking down how that works, why that happens, and being able to put that into a pitch and bring that in a very condensed way is something we're really excited about. And then the last thing that I want to kind of touch on is kind of this narrative that we're thinking about building around Bean as an economic kind of experiment, right? Like, we don't have to be like we don't have to kind of put ourselves in this box that we have everything figured out and we kind of know what non-fiat money is or non-fiat backed money is. Like I think there's a larger opportunity if we think big picture of kind of framing Bean as like, hey, this is an experiment that we're figuring out, but this is an incredibly important experiment that we need to be allocating resources, time into figuring out how to get this thing perfectly. So while like, yeah, we're not at peg right now, and yeah, that's not great. What it is more about the journey that we're on in order to get to the goal, which is a credit-backed non-fiat stablecoin. Some headlines that we want to hit, right? Revolutionizing stablecoins, creating the most stable stablecoin in all the drama, right? Like USDC is going from $1 to 85 cents, but guess what? Bean was at 92 cents all weekend. So kind of hitting those narratives. Some target places that we want to be in is just like all the different publications we're going to look at. The big thing I want to point out here is not only are we looking at crypto publications, but we also want to look at non-crypto publications. A lot of these, maybe more fintech focused ones. So like Bloomberg, Business Insider, CNBC, Financial Times, Forbes, Fortune, Reuters, TechCrunch, right? Some of these more fintech focused platforms is where we can get an opportunity to get people excited about the experiment that we're doing here and what we're trying to build here and kind of the big picture ideology. So obviously we want to hit crypto publications because that's definitely our target audience, but there's also a pretty big opportunity to hit non-crypto native audiences and people that are kind of just interested in fintech, interested in economics and money and things like that. Podcast is obviously a big place we want to focus on, right? Getting, the poops guys into some of these bigger, better podcasts, right? Some more nuanced places where we can have longer conversations about what we're trying to build. Um, Thought leadership areas. So, different content categories that fit different publications, right? You don't want to be doing, newcomer educational content on like Blockworks research or something like that. You want to kind of be able to match the content category to the publication. So that's something we're going to be spending a lot of time on, getting a lot of the op-eds, thought leadership, spreading kind of the bean message and gospel. And then last thing, just like, key messages, right? Foundational educational content. What are stablecoins? Hitting that in more maybe general crypto publications and some of these Web2 fintech publications. Seniorage and talking about maybe some of these more complex economic concepts. Hitting those in more research focused places like Defiant, Blockworks Research, things like that. And then, we think there's a really big opportunity to hit a lot of these, simple explainer content, and that's content we're going to put on the blog, right? We're going to be putting that kind of stuff on Twitter, but then also syndicating that content out to other kind of publications like Bean Crypto, Crypto Slate, Cointelegraph, Nasdaq, right? So syndicating it. One of the big things that we want to focus on is taking the content that we're making and putting it in as many places and forms as we can, right? So writing a blog post, turning it into a Twitter thread, linking it at the bottom of the Twitter thread, turning it into a Reddit post so that people can come comment on it, and then also getting it syndicated out to some big publications. So these are kind of the things we're thinking about in a PR lens. Something we are thinking about, but the main thing is that PR takes time, and it's going to take some time to get that ball rolling. But once we do get that ball rolling, you guys are going to see some really cool stuff, and in some places where we're going to be able to kind of bring in some more Bean members into the community. So this is just like in our planning phase. Just to summarize everything that we've kind of talked about today, we're kind of deep in our planning phase, and that's going to help us get kind of up to speed and make sure everybody's on the same page and we understand what our priorities are, what we're focused on, what the kind of lowest hanging fruit is that we can knock out early. And then we're in the process of spinning up the social machine where you're going to see kind of consistent weekly social engagement. We're in the process of spinning up the kind of content machine, so you'll see a lot more long form content coming. And so over the next week, you're going to start to see a lot of cool stuff coming out. So last thing I want to say is that if there's anyone out there that is interested in helping in any way, we're more than happy to take on any community support we can get. Anything from just sharing ideas, thoughts, bouncing ideas off of somebody, talking to them about why they're interested in the Bean ecosystem, why they feel so strongly and passionately about this project. We would love to talk to you. Or if there's anybody that you think that maybe wasn't on this call that you think would be a great person to talk to, we want to do almost like a community survey. Think of it like that, where we want to have one-on-one conversations with a lot of you guys to be able to pick your brain about, like, why do you spend your time in this community? Why is this important to you? Why is like, decentralized algo stables? Why do you think it's an important thing to contribute to? Questions like that. So, but that's what we have for right now. We're going to be a lot better about keeping everything up to date in this channel. I know that's something I haven't been great about in the past week so far, but something that we're going to be spending a lot of time in is we want to keep this Scrib channel to be open, an open conversation for everybody where everybody can openly contribute. You guys will see what we're working on, what we're doing, the questions we're asking. And yeah, just super excited to kind of get the wheels starting to roll. We're really, really close. And once the machine kicks on, it's not going to stop, and it's going to be going hopefully for a really long time. So any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, feel free to hit me. You guys know where to find us. You can find us in this Discord channel. You guys can hit us on Twitter, or in Discord DMs. But yeah, that's what we got for today.
I got one thing to add, just really quick, for in regards to the content calendar, just since we have Guy here, and this will kind of be the standard. I just want to go over it. So pretty much what we'll be doing, I'm going to share my screen super quick. But what we're going to be doing is just putting things in here. Can you guys see this sharing right now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, like this is obviously super bare right now, but these are what I kind of added in regards to the spaces that we're gonna have. Like this is just announcing it, and then we're gonna like do a little bit of a recap. And Guy, what we'll do is we can go in here. I can tag you on this. I'll tag you for checks on more long form things, things that like need approval, and then other stuff you'll be able to go in and just check it out and get an update on what's going on. But pretty much, yeah, we can leave a comment. We can talk back and forth on this. There's different categories to post into here and pretty basic, but yeah, in general, like obviously, it's not like we're bringing Bean to market. There's an account there's multiple accounts that have been live, so we'll probably do like a little bit of kind of announcement of our new Beanstalk Farmers account. But it's going to be like kind of just getting things going from the get go with like these recaps and different things. We're going to be announcing kind of voting periods for different implementations and making sure that people are aware of the updates that are coming in the next months because that long update that you posted earlier this week is super important. So we want to make sure to get the word out, get people to look at the BIPs and whatnot. So this is kind of going to be the main hub of what content is going out in long form, in tweets, everything of that nature. So
It may just be me, but I can't see your screen right now, but I assume you're just showing one of the Notion pages.
yes, that's super tough. Dang.
It's like, it's loading for me, but I think it might just be on my end.
It might be mine too, but yeah. I'll just send you a screenshot really quick because it really was just one page. But yeah, I'll send you a screenshot in DM and let you kind of visualize what I just went over. But pretty simple.
If you could drop it in the channel, that'd be awesome for everyone to see.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, other than that, we're looking forward to getting started next week in terms of putting that out, and then obviously getting going on long form. And we'll definitely have a ton of questions. I have a handful of kind of more technical things and kind of the voice that we want to go for with content. In terms of like the actual function of bean, price of bean, things of that nature that we need to do to get it back to $1 and other things around that. So once we have our call next week, definitely we'll have a lot of questions to go over, but really looking forward to that and then kicking off from there.
Yeah, love seeing all you guys in this call. And if you have ideas on the content, feel free to tag me in the Scrib channel. I'm always open to suggestions.
And are those two content and PR plans that you guys shared? Do we have links for those as well? Or are they linked from the Notion?
They'll be in the Notion, but yeah, we'll when I do a like action item recap for the meeting, then for everyone that wasn't able to join, then we'll drop those links in there as well. Yeah, just so everyone knows. Yeah, so yeah, it's me. You're gonna see Joey, and you're gonna see Randy, Rob, and yeah. So that's the team that most of the team you're gonna see. There's a couple other people working in the background, but yeah, feel free to hit us up. We'll be in the channel. You'll see us a lot. And yeah, excited to like really kick this thing up into gear and really get this thing going. I think right now is kind of the perfect time with the entire kind of shit show that happened this past weekend. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. So defer to you guys on how you want to, have the agenda for these meetings, but I think it'd be nice maybe in the future, like set aside the last, 15 minutes or so to see if folks have particular ideas to discuss. I know, folks in the past, like, perhaps Beanthoven wanted to talk to you a little bit about the content they work on and how to integrate that with the overall plan. I know folks like, Kobe Bean have sent me, draft tweet threads in the past, things that they would like to see published. So just as a heads up, that might be something that cool to do for the community moving forward.
100%. I think that's a great idea. I think that'll be the standard. Is that we'll come into these meetings every week with our agenda. We'll probably run through. We'll set the timing for these meetings at about an hour every week, and then yeah, we'll come through and we'll run through our agenda, what we're kind of working on, and what we kind of worked on this past week, and then yeah, we'd love to leave. Even this week, leave the last 15 minutes for the community, and we can just hang out here and ask questions, shoot the shit, talk to everybody, and yeah, happy to take in any thoughts, comments, criticisms, like all we want to do is help you guys out and help this community and really build this thing. I mean, we have a lot of conviction in the Poobs and their kind of vision, and so anything that can help us get a little closer to that vision, we're more than happy to kind of talk about and implement.
On that note, yeah, Beanthoven was. I just saw you in media. I was just going to ask if you wanted to give the Scrib guys a download on like all the things you're creating, when they're going out, things like that.
Yeah. Thanks, Guy. Yeah. So me and Bella Beantalk, who's also here, we have an audio production company, Audio Farms, and we've been producing content, a wide variety of content, really, for quite a while now. You've probably seen some of it, at least if you've been through the YouTube channels. But yeah, just in general, just really interested to probably sit down for at least hopefully a bit of a deep dive and talk about like some of the points that you were trying to focus on, and as far as like things that might be good targets for us.
100%. Yeah, I think we'll shoot you a DM, and I think a part of our kind of like community kind of survey, call it a series. But yeah, definitely want to like we talked to Asfi last week, and that was really great. Saw some of the educational things he's working on. Definitely would love to talk to you guys and see like what you guys are doing on the audio and YouTube side. I think there's some awesome stuff there that we could definitely use, repurpose, get a lot of value out of. Yeah, like and anyone else that wants to kind of help us out or contribute, or just let us pick their brain. There's definitely a couple guys in here. Like I know Harry has been like super excited about us getting in here. Has been super supportive of some of the things we've been pushing for. So obviously would love to talk to Harry as well, and Kobe Bean. So yeah, definitely that's 100%. Well, I'll shoot you a DM and we'll set some time to kind of chat, and yeah, definitely want to pick your brain.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, one of the things I'm really excited about is that we're content creators, but we're not necessarily marketers, and so I think that's something that we've struggled with in the past, and it's just super excited to have your expertise on board.
Yeah, we're pretty good marketers. We're definitely not content creators. So yeah, I think
Nice.
there's
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, if anyone's got anything else, we can hang back for a couple, and if not, we'll you guys will see us around, or feel free to drop questions in the Scrib channel, shoot us DMs, yeah, whatever you guys need.
Yeah, I got a good question for you, or a comment, or just curious about your thoughts on this. So I personally, and I'm sure a lot of us in the community do this as well, but like as we're browsing, Twitter or Reddit or just the internet in general, every now and then we'll come across something that is related to cryptocurrency, or something where I feel like, oh, this would be a great place where Beanstalk should respond or comment, right? In some official capacity, or someone with more knowledge, or someone that's better spoken than I am, or something along those lines. I'll see a post on Reddit, and I'm like, and actually it happened this morning. There was like some thread about the recent events with banking and all that stuff, and I was like, oh man, this would be like a really good time and place for somebody to respond with like a thing about Beanstalk, right? In some more official capacity, right? And on Twitter, this kind of is happening. So there's like this informal group of Bean people on Twitter that sometimes just paste, Twitter threads that are found from the crypto Twitter community, that are kind of related, and everybody just kind of uses that as a, hey, everybody jump on this, and just like spread the word and just kind of bomb it with Beans related stuff. So I was just curious if that approach is good, and if it would make more sense to kind of formalize that approach, or have some kind of mechanism where, like, if somebody sees something or a conversation taking place online, if there's a mechanism, or if we should have a mechanism to kind of surface it to the right place, I guess, to the right people, probably you guys, I would assume, so that a proper response or a proper engagement can happen. Do you understand what I mean?
100%. No, and I think you're definitely in the right place. I think you know I think at least for now I think a system for that is definitely a great idea. I think at least for now we can use our kind of scribe channel for that. And you know obviously you know we're pretty ear to the ground on what's happening on crypto Twitter. You know Reddit maybe we don't spend as much time on a day-to-day basis on, at least I personally don't. But yeah, like you know you guys are we definitely would love for you guys to be our kind of eyes and ears. Where if you guys come across conversations, feel free to just drop it in this channel, in our scribe channel, and we can kind of take it from there. Or maybe you know you're like, hey, this is a good conversation, we want to hop in. You know, at least we can use this for now as a central place where we can kind of take all of that in. And yeah, what that's going to look like is like, yeah, feel free to drop it in there, and then we can go out there and evaluate. Hey, we should respond to this. This is how we should think about responding to this. So I think one, that's a great idea. Two, for now, let's just use the scribe channel, and then three, let's also try to think about, and I'll also think about this as well, is ways that we can maybe formalize that process. Maybe it's a ticket system, maybe you know maybe it's a separate channel, or maybe it's just like you see something on Twitter, just DM it to one of the accounts, and then we can see it. I think DMs might be a little tough on Twitter just because Typefully doesn't. We use Typefully to kind of run all the Twitters, and so that might be a little difficult for us. But yeah, I think that's an awesome idea. So if you guys, if anyone out there also wants to be our eyes and ears for different places that we can drop some knowledge on and kind of plug Bean, we definitely want to do that. So
Yeah. I want to add to that really quick too. We definitely were planning on doing that as well. Like, just trying to find where we could plug Bean into the conversation. So, yeah, I mean, the more the merrier is great, and just having more people looking out for that content and sending it in will definitely take care of it. And then to your other point of like, kind of, I think you mentioned just having people, n-
you cut out there, Joe.
Them too.
Joey died on us.
I was gonna say one thing. If you do have a Twitter group, maybe we could get the Beanstalk _ farmers account in there. You know, or Bean _ farmers account that we're gonna be running.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
There's a couple different Twitter DM groups of bean farmers that will get the. You want the bean _ farmers account added to that?
Yeah, it's probably gonna
Right.
be our primary way of like engaging with you know, just community discussions. But we could also do it from the like main Twitter account sometimes too. It just depends on the situation.
We'll get that account added.
Guy, are you in this group, the Bean Twitter one? If not, just shoot me.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And by the way, it might be worth like you know posting it in this channel is totally fine. That works great. That's kind of what I was hoping for. It might be worth just messaging this out on the larger DAO call because there's only 20 people on this call. But if we made everyone aware of like this concept of like, hey guys, if you see a conversation taking place somewhere that you think we should respond to, like drop it in the channel, drop a link in the channel. That could go a real long way because. You know, as you guys know, like this stuff happens real time, right? So like if we can respond to things in real time, that's probably the best.
Of course, 100%. Yeah, that's why I think either here or yeah, I think Twitter DM is probably the best place. Yeah, something where we can just kind of see it, respond to it, engage with it, and not even just like specific bean related stuff, but even larger, you know, just any kind of like stablecoin conversation, you know, economics conversations, all that kind of stuff. Cool. I think that's just about everything for this week. But yeah, again, same thing. Like, you know, feel free to drop some thoughts, comments, concerns into the main group, or into our Scribe channel. And yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions, thoughts, and we'll start reaching out to Beanthoven and other guys about you know setting up some of these community calls and community surveys. But yeah, that's we got for this week.
Well, you should Sean, I think Sophocles had a question in the marketing voice chat. They said, what's the con to just using the main Twitter account? Not sure which one they're referring to exactly, but
I assume it's the Beanstalk Farms Twitter, and that is a great question. And so we want to, what we want to do is we want to have a place where we can be very academic, right? So like the BF team is kind of highly academic, and that's kind of the tone and voice. And that's great, but that doesn't give us the range of things that we need to do in order to be as effective as we can and hit a lot of different audiences. So what we imagine is a beanstalk, or the Beanstalk Farms Twitter is going to be very academic, high level, big picture, roadmap, things that are going on, updates. And then we have Beanstalk Farmers, which is going to be like a community run, community initiative Twitter account where we can be a little bit edgier. It's a little bit, a lot more educational content, teaching, things like that, where it's not like highly academic. So more, a larger ability to appeal to a wider audience there. So we can have like the highly academic folks look at Beanstalk Farms. We can have like more of the normie general audience for bean farmers as like a community initiative, and then we can have Bean Bowl as like our shit posting. So then we can have a wide range of content audiences that we can hit that lets us talk to a lot of people, work with a lot of people, appeal to a lot of different audiences, a lot of different types of users, so that we can maximize the total number, like the total top of funnel that we have, so that we can have as many different types of users kind of working with us as possible, talking to us as possible. So if anyone has like, if you have like a specific like, hey, I totally agree we should have multiple different Twitter accounts, or I'm like totally against it. Like I really think we should only have like one Twitter account. Like, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. Like, I think a lot of this stuff is like just the way we're thinking about it and things from our experience. But if anybody has specific thoughts or like feels really strongly one way or another, definitely want to have that conversation. Cool. That brings us on time, but definitely want to keep having this convo going. Feel free to kind of drop more questions in that Scribe channel. Again, we're doing the same time every single week. So you guys will catch us here every week at this time. And see you guys next week. And I guess we'll definitely talk on Monday because we'll be doing the big brand call. So we asking a lot of questions there, making sure everybody's up to speed. But super excited to work with everybody.
amazing. Thank you, Sean, and thanks for all the Scribe guys. Excited to get this started.
Appreciate you guys. We will chat soon. Everyone.